finally, like, I don't even know what was going on, so I just cut the Wi-Fi and just went straight to our 4G. So
dang, are we live? Okay, yeah. Sorry about the technical glitch. I guess that's part of the live experience.
It is.
But we're back, and Brother Huntinghouse is just talking about a time where he had an interview with a big celebrity from around here in Utah.
Yeah.
And they had a similar situation where the Wi-Fi cut out in their live video. You had 1,400 people watching live, and it cut them all out.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Did you ever get the following back?
Yeah. Well, it got up to about 300, which was still good. Like, still a lot of people on, but it wasn't as near as the peak of where it was. So.
Right.
But
dude,
it happens, you know. So.
Okay. Well, how far did we get last time, Ethan? Before we cut out.
I don't even know, right?
I know. And the last thing we were talking about was about monetizing it. So you were getting a whole bunch of traffic to your website. You posted like 15 different memes in a post.
Yeah. And
shared it to your social networks.
Yeah.
And it drove traffic to your website.
Right.
And it drove so much traffic that it kept crashing your website over and over again.
Yeah.
So you have the problem of, okay, your website keeps crashing because you're getting too many visitors. But I want to know, how did you ever monetize that?
Yeah.
You talked about selling like banner ads, like Google AdSense.
Yeah. And that's the only way that we did. Like, because it was just such a short period of time. Whenever you have a post that goes viral, or it gets a ton of traffic, like, it doesn't last very long. It lasts maybe 1 or 2 days, and then you have some residual effects where the traffic is, you have some residual traffic for maybe a week. But really, like, all of your virality is probably about a window of 2 to 4 days, right, at the most, right? And so we started about halfway through the second day. We threw up these ads, got a little bit of, you know, and the fact of the matter is, like, we did get by the end of it, we probably made about $700 off display ads.
Okay.
Towards the end, but, like, we missed a lot of the value because we probably missed about 2/3 of the traffic. And by the time we launched it and got optimized and it actually started getting there, we probably lost about 2/3 of our traffic. But we still made $700,
which that's in a weekend.
Yeah, in a weekend. You know,
that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. That's totally cool.
And
right?
You still have a full-time job.
Yeah,
working for somebody else at this point.
Yeah, so I was still working out in a mountain. This was just still, like, we were still building it out and didn't know exactly what we wanted to do with it. And so we made about $700 just from that one post. And but what was crazy is, before we knew exactly how much we were going to make from that post, in order to do the upgrades, we went from a $3 a month plan to almost $800 a year, right? So but we had to prepay the entire year, like, and so at the time we couldn't break it up, so we had to fork out $800, not knowing exactly, like, how we were going to make this money back,
right?
Know? And so luckily, when all was said and done, and, like, we look back, like, we ended up making almost that exact amount from. But now we're pretty much break even for the year, right? And so
pretty much. I mean, you're short what, $100?
$100, and so we had to figure out, you know, okay, well, now it's go time. Like, we have $800 invested in this. Like, we got to do something with it, and so and that's where it really, in terms of content creation, like, we really just started churning out blog posts and articles that kind of appealed to our audience. And for probably the first year, you know, it was all display ads, right? For the next, like, year and a half, it was all display ads. We didn't know exactly how to monetize it any better than that,
right?
But I mean, that was pretty much it. And so
and had traffic slowed down after that one incident? Yeah,
so it definitely came back to earth a little bit.
Okay, so it wasn't any, like, $700 in a weekend anymore.
Yeah, no, it came back, and we were probably, like, the second month, I think we made about $400 total for the entire month, like. And so, like, that month we probably ended up making about $1,000 that month, because $700 came from that one post, and then we made about $300, you know, with all the other posts. But yeah, so I mean, we were probably making about $300 to $500 a month. And then actually what ended up happening was the very next semester, like, so that was towards the end of the year, and then. In that January, I ended up taking a class, and it was a digital analytics class. And one of the things in the class is they do a website audit, right?
Okay.
And so I was like, hey, I got a website. You can totally audit our website. And the one thing they suggested is doing an in-post ad, right? So like basically, like our ads were on the side and not like the header, but like there's no actual post in the post itself. And
so you'd have ads on like all sides of the post of the article,
right?
But now you're talking about putting an article like in between the lines.
Yeah. So like in the post itself. And so, Google only allows you to do 3 ads. And so we had our sidebar ad, we had our header, but then we took one of the sidebar ads and put it into the post. And it tripled our revenue. Just doing that one, like changing the location. So now we're making about $1,500 to $2,000 a month.
Wow.
Simply just by our ad location. And so removing it from the sidebar to the middle, into the middle of our post. And so
that seems like the smallest difference.
Yeah, no, it was super small. It was just like a 5-minute audit. We threw it on the website. Somebody suggested, hey, maybe you should take one of the ads from the sidebar, put it into the post itself, and see how that goes. And I'm like, okay. And so we did. And then all of a sudden, like our click-through rate just skyrocketed. And I'm like, holy cow! Like, dang, this is pretty cool. And so. Yeah, and so from that point on, once we made that adjustment, we probably averaged about $1,500 to $2,000 a month, just from the display ads from our website. And so,
$1,500 to $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, which is nice. It's as a side gig, like it's a
right, but it certainly isn't a full-time job. And at this point, you and your wife had how many kids?
Yeah, we have 3 kids.
3 kids. Yeah. So no, you can't support.
Yeah, so
it's too much.
Yeah, you can't.
It's still a side gig.
Yeah, so it was a nice little side money that was coming in, but it still wasn't a full-time job. And
was it full-time work though?
Yes and no. Like so, it was like hit or miss, right? So like basically because I had a full-time job like at Intermountain, so like I did a lot of work there. But then what I would do is consolidate my time and pretty much like I would spend 15-20 hours like over the weekend and just cram it and spend the entire weekend to cram out posts for the rest of the week that we kind of schedule out. And that's kind of what we did is we crammed a lot of our time into a short amount of time, but it still wasn't full time. Like I probably spent about 15-20 hours a week on it. So but then we kept on doing it, longer story, a little shorter. We did it, and that September we ended up we kind of changed what we did. So we got in this rut, because we had so much success with like the things that only Mormons would understand.
Right.
We decided to post that more. And again and again and again and again. And so we post like one after another. And so it was like 14 things that Mormons understand, 12 things that Mormons understand, 7 things that Mormons understand. Whoa. But it became old, right?
Really? Isn't that what you're supposed to do though? Is identify your target market, right, and then figure out what they like, and then really serve them what they like. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Right.
You're supposed to do that. But the problem is we didn't frame it. Like what we were trying to do is serve kind of like this humor aspect at the time, right? So kind of a humorous, which is fine, and that's where our target market was. But we did pretty much the exact same thing over and over again. So basically, when people saw it, like they've already seen that show before, right?
Right.
And so we talked about creating this paradigm shift. Like there was no paradigm shift occurring because they're like, this is just more of the same. I've already clicked on this post before, right? Mm-hmm. Or something very similar. So they just didn't click through it. And so we decided to add, all right, well, we got to branch out a little bit, still kind of produce what we're trying to do. But then we added news and more of a news informational type of stuff.
Oh, okay. So now it's not just humor anymore. Now it's more news.
Right. Okay. And so, and the first thing that we decided to do when we did this was, it happened that Pawn Stars, they did a piece, and on the episode of Pawn Stars, they did an evaluation of a Book of Mormon, like one of the early edition of the Book of Mormon.
Oh, you know what? I think I heard about that.
Yeah. And so, and it was valued around like $30,000 or something like that, $30,000 or $40,000. I can't remember.
Wow.
And so, anyways, it was like the most expensive book that they had in the store, like at Pawn Stars. Was this Book of Mormon. And so we're like, oh, hey, this would be a great first kind of step into it. And so we decided to post that article, and that went viral, and like that, like it blew up. And then we noticed that as we started to incorporate, then we still add some like things that Mormons would only understand, type posts or like Mormon humor posts, but there was variety now, and we, instead of just always constantly just changing the number and saying things only Mormons would understand, we framed it. And like when it comes to blogs and bloggers and articles, like your headline matters a ton. Like 70% of your click-throughs are going to come based on how you title the headline.
Okay.
And so we didn't want it to be clickbaity, but like we had to change up the format. And so we changed formats. It was basically the same type of articles, but we just changed the headline. And so instead of saying things that only Mormons understand, we put like 14 funny things about Mormon culture, and just we kind of changed the phrasing of it. And simply by doing that, like it created some diversity. We were still producing basically the same content. We just put it in a kind of a new, fresh way. And at that point, that kind of took us to the next level. So we were making about $1,500 to $2,000 a month. Now we're making about $5,000 to $6,000 a month off the ads because our reach and our articles were growing, and because of this variety, it added new life to kind of our posts.
Wow, that's pretty good. That's really good for a side hustle.
Yeah,
$5,000 to $6,000 a month.
Yeah, so,
and this is all Google AdSense.
Yeah, it was all Google AdSense. Yep. That's
okay,
all.
I understand now that it's your full-time job.
Yeah.
And I know you're a professor on the side, an adjunct professor, but your main revenue is
still LDS Money.
Yeah. Okay, so what brought you from a side hustle to a full-time job?
So, because I've always said that was my passion, right? My passion was entrepreneurship, creating something new, and we wanted to see where we really could take this, because this is still part-time, like it's still my part-time work, it still wasn't what my full-time job at the time was Intermountain Healthcare, and so we wanted to figure out, okay, how could we do this for reals, right? And do this full-time, and it was it later turned out to be the best decision I ever made. Like, there's two things that really eventually saved our company. And so one was getting my wife on board, right?
Okay.
And so
it was all you at this point.
Yeah. So getting on board with the idea of going full time, of quitting my job. Like up until that point, like she was still helping. She was helping and she was doing everything as well, but she wasn't comfortable with going full time. Like she just wanted to keep it as like kind of a side thing at first. And so I started presenting this idea of like, hey, how about what if we decided to make this full time? And it took some convincing and it took some time to do that, but ultimately, like, it ended up saving our company, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But so we made a plan. And so this is about October.
Okay.
I don't even remember what year it was, like October of 2014. So October of 2014, we made a plan that by my birthday, which was February 28th, that would be my end date. Like I would end up putting I ended up putting a 1 month notice, but my last day at my work would be February 28th, and we had until then to get everything straightened out.
Hold on, that's October of 2014 to February of 2015.
Yeah.
That's October, November, December,
January,
February. 5 months.
Yep. And so
that's the pressure's on.
Yeah.
Pressure's on. Okay.
Right. And so we had about 5 months. And so the thing was, like, in order to get her on board, not only, and so this is the second thing that we ended up doing, is getting out of debt, which, like, everybody asks me, like, what's one of your best advice, like, to starting a business? And honestly, it's one of the best thing that you can do is get out of debt, because it allows you to do so much more, and it gives you the flexibility that you won't have if you have a buttload of debt before starting.
So to get out of debt, what did you do?
And so, so we utilized the full-time income that we had, and now we're actually making a pretty good. I'm actually making more money on LDS Smile than I was at my full-time job at Intermountain at this time. Just off of
AdSense.
Yeah, just off of AdSense.
Wow.
Yeah, and so, so it allowed us to pay off our debts a lot quicker, obviously, but what ended up happening, and so not only did we have to pay off our debts, we had to have a 6-month reserve, right? So those were the two conditions. Our debt was paid off, and we had 6 months of reserve, which later turned out to be kind of crazy that it was 6 months, because we used up 5.5 months of those reserves once we went full time. But anyways, so yeah, that was my number one goal. It's like, all right, how can we get this, set up everything so that in February when I ended, we could run this full time. And so, and February of that following year on my birthday, that was my last day, and then we ended up going and went full time.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Great.
So
sweet. So we've talked earlier about like other monetization strategies. Yeah. You had talked earlier about selling products.
Yeah.
Did that ever go anywhere ever? Selling things?
Yeah. So what ended up happening was kind of, again, a long story, a little shorter. So we went full time. First month was not too bad. We made about $7,000 that month. But the very next month, like everything like crashed, right? And so we ended up making about $700 that month.
$700.
Yeah.
Whoa! So you went from full time doing 5 to 6.
Yeah, our first month doing full time was good, but then our second month we made about $700.
That's scary.
It sucks, and like it's crazy, like, and so ended up going through about first 5.5 months, or for the next 5.5 months we were just bleeding money like left and right, and we were burning through cash. And I had about 2 weeks left of that reserve, that 6-month reserve that we had. Okay. I had about two weeks left, and I was like, crap, I'm going to have to like polish up my resume, start this again. But this, going back to the original post, the idea that getting my wife on board, and this was vital to our company surviving, because had she not been on board, she would have been like, hey, sorry, I told you this wasn't going to work, and totally just, crapped on the idea. But because she was on board and because she was invested in it, she was like, all right, I'm going to help you figure this out. We're going to try to figure out how we can work on this. And
so at this point, you're thinking about going back into the workforce,
right? After
6 months of not making very much money,
right? Yeah, okay. Absolutely. And so, but long story short, what ended up happening was she was the one that came up with the idea of creating these necklaces, and so products, and we bought $1,000 worth of inventory.
Necklaces.
Of necklaces.
So you have, we are getting short on time, but do you have one right here we could look at?
Yeah, it's well, I think they're outside, but
okay.
Yeah,
but I've seen them before. All they are is like little gold necklaces that say LDS Smile, has your logo on it.
Yeah, it just says Smile on there, and Smile is just that acronym, and it really connected with our audience, right? And so, and that's something we can go into later about product side of things and how to nail the products. But so we purchased $1,000 worth of these necklaces, or about $15,000 in retail value of this, and we were hoping to sell it over the next 6 to 8 months, sell through it, and we ended up selling through the entire inventory after 3 days of launching.
Oh, no.
And so, which was good, because now we just made we made $15,000 over the weekend, which is awesome. But now it brings on a whole new set of problems that I wasn't ready for, right? Like in terms of operation, shipping, and all kinds of different craziness, and then it came with a whole laundry list of problems, but they're good problems to have, right?
Right.
And so that bridged us. That gave us the gap from about June to about August, where then our ads and everything started to pick back up, because summer there's kind of a dead lull. And anyways, it was able to bridge us until everything else was able to come back up, and ultimately saved our company. And then from that point on, now we have the product side of things and the ad revenue,
right?
And now and then we were able just to kind of blow through that and keep on going, and that's where LDS Smile is today.
Wow! So there it is.
Yeah. So
wow.
In a nutshell.
Well, that's quite a story, and it's really cool you're able to get your wife on board. I guess it shows the importance of support.
Yeah.
And having it.
Absolutely, because if I didn't have her support, LDS Smile, we would have stopped LDS Smile almost a year and a half ago, right? Like we just, because she was the one who came up with the idea that saved the company,
right?
And that brought in that support, and so, but because we had her support, we were able to figure it out kind of as a team, as a group, and the rest is kind of history. So.
Wow, man, John, that's a really cool story. Thanks so much for sharing.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey guys, that's we're gonna wrap this interview up really quick, but we do want to let you know we're gonna finish recording a little bit more about his story and how you can do the same with your business if that's a space you're trying to get into. How you can monetize your website, gain a following, and one day, if you like, make a living like John does, being a blogger.
It's fun, right?
Oh man, it must be.
It is fun.
It's cool. You get to work from home.
Yeah, and we get to do a ton of fun stuff. Like we just came back from Hawaii and New York, and doing a lot of stuff with like Disney, Mattel, and Polynesian Cultural Center. So there's a lot of fun things that come along with it. So
man, there's a lot of opportunities out there for anyone that's willing to put in the work and take a couple of risks.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll be talking a little bit more about that, and that video will be posted in our Facebook group. Now, this is a new thing we're doing. We're granting access to this Facebook group to this great information that'll teach you how to do this on your own. However, it is a paid subscription. We'll put a link to our Patreon account, and if you're interested, go onto Patreon. You can either donate $1 if you like this content for fun, or you can donate $5 per month, and we'll give you access to these extra premium content that we're going to produce, where you can learn from people as wise as John how to do these kind of things yourself. Anyways, that's all we have for right now. If you like this video, go ahead and like and share it, and appreciate it so much. Thanks,
awesome.
John.
Well, thank you. Awesome.